there, Scholarly Gamers, and welcome to this week's episode of Jungle Drums. I am joined this week by my very good friend, technically also my boss in some ways, and that, of course, is the Scholarly Gamer himself. How are we doing there, bro?
I am doing fantastic, although I don't know how I like being referred to as boss.
Well, I know we're a volunteer organization, but hey, come on. There's
the Scholarly Gamer, the OGS.
The man, the legend. Oh, anyway, how you been doing lately, bud? You been all right?
I've been good. It's been, summer's always busy for me. In addition to everything else, I have wedding season, I DJ weddings, and so it gets pretty busy, but I can't not be busy. If I take a day off, it's weird, so...
Anyone that knows you basically understands you are incapable. Honestly, it might hurt to hear this, but you're incapable of just actually chilling for a moment. You're always doing something.
I realized actually after I'm air quoting right now, vacation.
Working vacation.
Yeah, the only way I can actually vacation is if I go somewhere. When I went to Florida last year, I was at least mostly able to unplug. But if my plan, I was like, I'm just going to take like a week off and I'm going to play games. I'm just going to play games. And I can't do it because I'm in my home office and there's so many things to do at my house. And so, yeah, I'm learning.
The thing is, though, look, we're joking about it, but there's nothing wrong with being a go-getter, right? Hey, it's just the way you are. You're always doing stuff, getting shit done. But, there is obviously that concern that, look, if you keep burning the candle at both ends, I'm kind of the opinion the only way for you to get an actual break is you need to go out and break the law. So you can spend 2 weeks in jail.
Yes.
Because guess what? You won't have access to Discord or the website, right?
I bet it would be so much calmer, too. We gotta come up with some really solid misdemeanor then. Something that, not a serious blemish on the permanent record.
Just keep jaywalking like on a Saturday, constant over and over until someone...
Ottawa man jaywalks 150 times. Police finally arrest him.
It'd be like a really, really short version of that Forrest Gump montage, where he's like running from coast to coast. Just you're like doing on the, from one end of Main Street to the other.
Major intersection over and over.
Oh, God. Well, okay, when you haven't been working your ass off, what games have you been playing lately?
So you know me, I have a hard time ever really sitting down with one game. So I've always got a whole bunch of stuff on the go. Mostly, I like to have something I can play with Ashley, something I can play with the stream, and something that's just like a go-to fun. So Harvest Moon Light of Hope has been my go-to game with Ashley. We're playing most nights now. It's a game that came out on PC last year to fairly mixed review. It was, it came out after, the Stardew Valley hype, and so it's kind of hard to follow up Stardew Valley, and it's kind of funny because Stardew Valley took a lot of its cues from Harvest Moon.
Of course, yeah.
And then it just became the king. It dethroned Harvest Moon, which realistically hasn't been a great series in a while. But Light of Hope is a fair bit of fun, and the big draw for us was that it has multiplayer. I can actually play a gardening sim with my wife, which is pretty fun. So yeah, we've been getting into that, and The Crew 2 has launched, at least for those who pre-ordered the Gold Edition. So I'm just starting to delve into The Crew 2 now, which I have to say, so far I'm pretty impressed with. Now, I don't go into The Crew necessarily looking for the best racing game, though. I'm going into The Crew looking for having to have a lot of fun driving around an expansive open world and just having fun moving from race to race and speed trap challenges and all those other various things that are dotted throughout.
Yes,
and I found, though, that got a little stagnant in the first game. That, at a point, it was just like, do I really have to drive for 30 kilometers to get to here? How long is that going to take me? And I played almost the entirety of the first Crew using the Thrustmaster system as well. Mm-hmm. So, and I wasn't great with it. It really made it a sim. Yeah. It was like I was actually driving across the continental U.S. And So I'd get into races with my buddies, and I set myself up to fail every single time because I was using the wheel and the pedals, and I was actually trying to do manual shifting with the paddles on the side.
It's so true. I mean, like I've always been into the Forza games, and I remember back in Forza 3 on the Xbox 360 where, you know, I was pretty good, and even in Forza 4, you know, I could get in like the top 1% of the leaderboards, and when I played online, I could, you know, honestly, driving games have been a passion of mine since I was a kid in the 80s, right? Going to the arcade and playing Outrun and APB and all that type of stuff, right? Chase
Rush.
HQ, Rush, Daytona USA. But the thing was, I was a decent, you know, a decent racer on those games. Then I got the official 360 wheel, thinking, oh, now I'm going to be even better. Holy shit, no. It's just, like you say, it takes quite a while to get used to the wheel. But once you do, if you get good with that wheel, I mean, yeah, holy shit. You'll be running circles around folk.
And so that's my hope for the Crew 2, is that, like, I've only played it one night so far, and I will say the hot swapping. So I was excited to have boats and planes. That's just cool regardless. And the fact that they gave us monster trucks and other things as well, hover boats, and you know, not as extra DLC. Off the hop, that's pretty cool. The gold, though, is that at any point you can just click in the right stick to switch between a car, a boat, or a plane. And it just switches immediately to the last one you're using. Okay. So if you are flying over a lake, you can hot swap into a boat and drop a boat from 200 feet in the air down onto the lake and just keep going. And then immediately whip back up into a plane and drop your, you know, speeder onto the highway that was going along the lake. I did it a couple times last night, and it made for some of the coolest gameplay.
Yeah, that does sound pretty cool.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'm undecided because that was fun last night. It might get repetitive. It's meant to be quite a big game, right? So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
Cool deal. Excellent. Now I look forward to seeing the because you're reviewing the.
And I was gonna say, yes, you're right. I am gonna have a review out. It's probably going to be out on Tuesday, I'm thinking, because I do have the weekend off. So I'm gonna just get right into it and tear up the United States.
Sweet.
Yeah, Canadians like doing that.
yeah. That's what I've heard that from the border guards. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Anyway, let's talk about what we got on the docket today. Right. Okay. So, first article we've sourced from PCGamer.com, and this is about Corsair making a major move in the streaming with the acquisition of Elgato's gaming division, right? So what this basically means is that, yes, you know, Corsair hasn't bought all of Elgato, but they have acquired the actual gaming division of Elgato, and the gaming division is what I think most folk out there, you know, we're mostly familiar with. You know, they make all the capture card products. I know me and you both use Elgato cards at the moment, don't we? You know, so it's quite cool. There's no actual details on how much money was spent, you know, whether... Because, I mean, that's the thing. When you see anytime someone acquires something, in my mind, you know, there has to be like a story behind that usually. Whether it's a case of one of the companies needing money, or it's a case of, you know, something's floundering, or, you know, maybe that's just conspiracy theory, and actually this is just a partnership that makes sense, because, you know, Corsair, you know, they know the ins and outs of gaming hardware, right? And Elgato being in the whole kind of streaming hardware and software sector, it makes sense for them to join up. I mean, I don't know how much to read into this.
And I believe Corsair's been around a lot longer than Elgato, right? I'm not
pretty sure. Pretty sure you're right.
Corsair was founded like in the 90s, and I think Elgato's a fairly newer company.
Yep. Yeah. 1994 is when Corsair.
And Elgato's 2002.
There we go. See.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know. I don't know. I like that you call it possible conspiracy theory, but I tend to agree that, like, a successful company doesn't often sell. unless
Yeah.
there's a reason behind it. Like, don't get me wrong, there are obviously cases of like a company's become successful, and we can't deny that Elgato has, as far as capture cards go, quickly become the king. Like, other capture cards are used, but Elgato's become pretty synonymous with having a really solid, high functioning capture card.
Big time.
So I don't know. Like, it could just be that they saw their opportunity.
Just I don't know, because I mean, it's like, you know, when you look at, remember, okay, like at E3, right, when Microsoft acquired Ninja Theory, right, and
Yes.
now Ninja Theory is by no means struggling, you know, by no means do they need, you know, this, that, and this, but when you listen to the actual, the video that the folk at Ninja Theory had recorded, and they said that basically it was kind of like this. Microsoft had approached them and said, look, you know, we like what you're doing. How about we take you on board, you have access to our money, our resources, but you just keep doing what you're doing? I mean...
That just makes sense.
Dude, yeah. I mean, if it was my company, you'd say, yeah, where do I sign? And,
Right.
And, you know, when it's one of these things that when you see a large company like Corsair and a large company like Elgato, you know, I don't think for a minute that Elgato's been struggling financially. I mean... We all know, I mean, look at, Jesus, you look just in the last year with the launch of their green screen, the launch of their Cam Link, you know, for DSLRs.
Yep.
When now the 4K 60 Pro that came out, but even before that, the HD 60 Pro.
And the HD 60S only, the HD 60 Pro only came out, what, 2 years ago or so? Like, it's not that.
No, yeah, it's not that old.
Like, it's still, I think the HD 60 Pro is still the industry standard for in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the few
It works with everything.
capture cards that actually, you know, does the encoding, or well, the processing rather, on board, you know, the internal HD60 Pro.
Yep.
It's, you know, whereas a lot of other cards out there actually don't, you know, in which unfortunately you find out, you know, if you don't have a very powerful computer, you put this in thinking, oh, right, yeah, my problems are sorted, and then only find out that, oh shit.
All of a sudden your frame rate's chugging because your GPU has no idea how to handle.
Yeah. It's strange. I mean, the thing is, I mean, AverMedia has been in the game long as well, and now, you know, we've seen their latest products to come out, and you know,
and they're getting pretty
they're
fancy for sure.
They're getting. I
mean,
mean,
like,
you look
Razer
at
as well. There are.
Well, that's the thing. The Razer Ripsaw is an AverMedia LGX.
Oh, is it an AverMedia?
Yeah. If you take if you disassemble a Razer Ripsaw and disassemble, I can't remember the exact model. I think it's the LGX. I think. But you look at them once you've taken them out of the plastic, and they're exactly the same. Like everything, the capacitors, the chips on them. And it's a lot of things that people like. Because I remember I didn't really take the piss out of them, but I kind of joshed with Josh. A little bit about that, you know, with the Razer Ripsaw, you're paying that premium for the Razer badge. You're basically getting an AverMedia capture card with,
but
you know,
with a nice Razer case on it.
Yeah. But no, it's one of those things that, you know, I don't know if this means if Corsair is maybe thinking that they want to get in on the capture card business as well. Or having like some kind of crossover, you know, products of some kind. I don't know.
It also, I could posit possibly too that like Elgato has a lot under their umbrella as well. Like, we know Elgato gaming, right? Because that's what we're used to. But Elgato has like an entire line of smart home products, and with how expansive that's getting now. Maybe it honestly could just be that they've decided to focus on that. You know, they've went from launching and specifically focusing on ITV to doing everything related to software, smart technology, hardware. So I don't, maybe they diversified a bit too much and they're reining it back in.
Yeah, no, maybe we'll have to see what develops from the partnership as time goes by. But yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be something just more a case of, an opportunity or something that makes business sense rather than, you know, a case of, oh crap, we need money, which, because you do see that quite often.
You do, but it's usually a little more obvious, right? Because I mean, usually I don't like Forbes or one of them Bloomberg have picked up the companies in trouble, and that would be part of the story. Like, it may just be that it hasn't come out yet, but I think normally, like, if Elgato had been struggling, we probably would have heard about it by now, because a financial magazine or site would have picked it up probably.
Yeah, and like you say, I don't think the chance of them struggling. Their stuff sells like hotcakes, and last time I checked, their stuff isn't exactly the cheapest in the world. It's affordable, don't get me wrong, but
it's not cheap.
Have you seen the price of the 4K 60 Pro?
I haven't looked because
just don't.
I wanted to.
Just don't.
So my
just don't.
My thought was that, like, my PC, like, if I even plug that in, my PC, even though the Elgato's handling most of it, I feel like there's like something, because I want to get it because I have the Xbox One X, right? But I don't know how it's gonna actually end up looking on the other end. I don't know if
It'll actually be fine, like, because the way that it does the onboard encoding and stuff, it's absolutely fine. But see, when you've got that 4K footage and it comes time to render, right? When you're rendering, like, if you want to, if say you're using Vegas or say you're using Premiere, like, no shit, I've seen folk rendering 4K footage, right? And with 32 gigabytes of RAM, they actually start still using, the page file, the swap file, where, when your computer is basically, it's used up all the RAM it has, and it has to use that virtual memory.
Oh my god, serious, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I mean, 4K footage, it does, like, to render it and to deal with it takes a beast. I mean, when I render 1080 footage, I mean, I'm probably kind of
It takes you overnight, like.
Well, it's like, for me, it's like real time. If it's an hour-long video, it'll take an hour to render for 1080p. Whereas 720 would take 30-something minutes. But if I was to render like 4K, yeah, it's like you say, I'd probably be like, okay, right, let me start that. I'll go to bed and see you in the morning.
Can you stream 4K on Twitch or Mixer?
I know that Twitch, I think they're trying to go that route. For Mixer, I mean, they've streamed the last two E3s in 4K,
but can regular people?
Not yet. They've been testing it for ages, and that was one of the things about the Xbox One X. One of those hidden features is that because it has the H.265 codec built into it, it will be able to stream at 4K, and that's the big issue, is the codec
that's
use.
Cool. Streaming right from the X1X in 4K. Yeah. That'll be that's neat for people that don't have capture cards.
It's the limiting factor right now is the codec use. Twitch and Mixer and even YouTube, they all still use 264, whereas to go into the realm of the 4K, we need to switch to 265, because for the same amount of megabytes, right, for 1080p at 264, it would be the same size in 4K with 265. Whereas if you use the 264 codec on 4K, I mean, we're talking, dude, you'd have to set your upload bitrate to like 50 megabits a second.
And this is one of the reasons that it's like, I don't see a purpose for me to get a 4K card yet, because I don't do near enough recording, I mostly just stream, and it's not going to matter anyway. But
I mean, it's even like on YouTube and stuff, there's a lot of people recording in 4K, but as far as the audience goes, there's still a lot of people that don't have 4K, TVs or monitors to watch it. But a lot of, like, but again, we're talking about, like, the top echelon, that top 1%. These folk, are, folk with, millions of subs, and even then we're talking about, like, tech tubers usually, not just like your normal kind of,
not your regular.
Look at me, look, this is my vlog of me in Ibiza, blah, 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 blah. But yeah. Right. Okay. How about now this? Oh, this is something that, look, the Scholar Gamer's going to love this one, right? This is sourced from Bloomberg, and this is about the
Speaking of Bloomberg, fuck.
Speaking about the recent saga that's been going on between Fortnite and PUBG. Now, of course, if you missed this, I'm sure I've discussed this at some point over the last few months, there was a copyright lawsuit. from PUBG basically against the Fortnite creators, but now this copyright lawsuit has been dropped, ending this sensational legal battle that's been happening over in South Korea. Now, I know for a fact you're going to have a lot to say about this, and I just want to, before you crack on with this, I find it so funny that that they pursued this, and I get why they pursued it in South Korea. Obviously, because that's where the studio's located, but it's also to do with how copyright law has changed there in recent years. Now, keep in mind, it's been 12 years since I lived over there. But when I lived over there, copyright law was just almost non-existent. Like you could not purchase an Xbox 360 at the time or a PS2 without it already coming pre-modded. It would already have a chip, and it would already have 10 games installed. I'm sure I've told you the story before about how, like, I'd built a PC over there, and I had Windows XP at the time, and it turned out to be a pirated version. And I spent weeks trying to track down a legit copy of XP, because every time I'd go to a computer store, I'd be like, look, I need a copy of XP Pro. Oh, yes, no problem. And they would just throw me a CD. I'm like, no, I need to buy one. No, pay, it's free. No, you don't understand.
No, I actually want a legit one.
I'm like, get on the phone. And honestly, dude, I spent a week trying to track one down and finally was able to get one. And even then, when I finally went to the guy, he's like, this is a. I'm not going to do the accent because it'll just be racist. But he's looking at me in broken English, saying, that this. Oh no, it's too expensive. Look, I just give you. I'm like, no, I need it.
That's awesome, though.
But just a few years ago, because of this stigma or this kind of, reputation that South Korea had gotten, they completely overhauled their copyright laws in South Korea just a few years ago. So now it's really, really strict, which was hilarious because it was a country of knockoffs. Like you'd go into a shoe shop and it smelled like glue. It was one of those countries.
That's that's more countries than I think a lot of people realize. Like I spent a summer in Kyrgyzstan, and aside from everything was a knockoff. I still have a knockoff set of Beats headphones that you wouldn't have known were knockoff headphones, except for the $30 price tag. They're just like, it was just everywhere. And don't get me wrong, you get some pretty awesome knockoffs, and it is pretty awesome to be able to go get. And don't get me wrong, I will tell you, like, Beats knockoffs still have a really solid sound quality. They just break in about 3 weeks. But my favorite example and I used to joke that Kyrgyzstan was the land that copyright law lost. My favorite example was that this one shawarma place had a life-size cutout of Jackie Chan holding a speech bubble that said, like, in Russian, like, best shawarma in Bishkek. And I remember just, like, I think I still have a picture of it somewhere, and just being, there is no way that Jackie Chan gave permission for his likeness to be out in front of this random shawarma shop in downtown Bishkek.
Hey, you don't know. Maybe he really liked the shawarma there, huh?
Maybe, I don't know, but no, it's So I'm familiar with the type of environment.
But no, I mean,
it does make for. We're so used to living in a copyright world, right? And so I'm not gonna lie, that summer some things were just so easy that I hadn't even thought of. And
God, dude! I mean, the 4 years I lived in South Korea, it was open season on any film or music I wanted.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just the way it was. Oh God! But no, with this copyright thing, right? I mean, I know that no real big details have came out. We don't know why it's been dropped or whether a settlement has been reached. But considering you've written about this in the past, what do you think is going on with this?
So it's honestly this is new, and we don't have a lot of information on this yet. The story just rebroke again yesterday, and it's as you said, it's possible there was a settlement. It's, in my opinion, much more possible that PUBG Corp has realized that in South Korea with the new climate that it's actually not going to be able to go through with this. I think that they thought they had an advantage because Bluehole Inc. is based out of South Korea, and I think they thought like home territory. This is the one place in the world we're actually going to be able to take this to court and win, because this had largely been decided and discussed amongst, like, I mean, I discussed it several times, but this has been discussed in the concept has been discussed long before Bluehole ever levied the complaints against Epic Games, the things that you can and you can't copyright in media. I mean, it's silly to think like this would be like copywriting a literary trope or something like that. You can't. That's not how it works. Just because somebody has, here, I'll use a Detroit Become Human. Just because somebody has already done Android self-determination, in fact, just because there have already been a dozen movies, several shows, and multiple games which have tackled Android self-determination, doesn't mean that someone else can't come around and say, actually, I'm going to do it better, or I'm just going to do it differently. There are certain things, obviously, that are copyrightable within a game. For instance, the engine. You can't use another engine without the permission of somebody. But something so simple as dropping 100 people in from a plane or a bus with a hot air balloon, and being in a map that has a gradually shrinking circle as you fight to the last person, that's not something you can copyright.
No. I mean, how many versions of games has there been where there's deathmatch or capture the flag or, you know, some type of game mechanic? Even look at first-person shooters. Why the hell wasn't the makers of Wolfenstein suing the balls off everyone? I mean,
oh my God, everybody! Yeah, that makes perfect sense for them. My favorite example, and this is one that I often people don't know, is that we wouldn't have Call of Duty if people that didn't originally work on Medal of Honor didn't or hadn't left the studio to start Activision.
Yep.
Activision started because people left. Oh my God, who makes Medal of Honor right now? It's not EA, or who was it? I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, people left the studio that made Medal of Honor, and an entire team came together to take everything that they'd learned through making the Medal of Honor games and decided to do it better. And I'm pretty sure there was a legal battle that occurred at the time in the early 2000s against Call of Duty when it first launched, but it didn't change. There were absolutely no grounds for it, because you can have a first-person war-based shooter with, as you said, a team deathmatch, and those aren't things you can copyright. Those are within creative license, I guess would be the best way to put it.
I mean, I think the thing that always bothered me with that whole PUBG lawsuit to begin with was that it just is as if he thinks he owns the concept of Battle Royale, which we all know it's been around a long time before him.
I mean, I don't remember what the author's name is, but the book originally came out in 1999, followed by a movie in 2000, Battle Royale. And if you have not read/watched it, do it, because it's phenomenal. And there are other games that are out, and I hesitate to even say games like The Culling, which people really wrote off initially, and the more recent Darwin Project, which actually play very much like the core concept of Battle Royale, which is, like, I've been playing a little bit of Darwin Project lately, and I'm actually, it's still in beta on Xbox. I'm really impressed with it. But no, it's silly to think, and credit where credit's due. Brendan Green has done a ton for the gaming community, and I think, and I tried in my first, and in my first article I wrote, I tried to balance that, because, like, realistically, if he hadn't had the vision, and there might have been other people, but he's the one that, you know, we all know of. If he hadn't had the vision to originally mod Arma and create that first Battle Royale mod, which eventually spawned into the DayZ mod. And Brendan Green, as a lot of people may or may not know, worked heavily on H1Z1. He helped them. And then eventually with the release of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Brendan Green's had his hand in pretty much every single Battle Royale game that existed up until Fortnite. The
Yeah.
other games that came out, games like The Culling, weren't really the same Battle Royale format. They were like 12 people, and it was more kind of like an arc building Rust the Forest kind of vibe. The Fortnite was the first game, the first Battle Royale game that came out that Brendan Green himself specifically had not had a hand in, or better yet, hadn't been asked to help on. Because the studio behind H1Z1 actually specifically asked Bluehole to help in their design of after they wanted to do King of the Kill after Just Survive. So I don't like, yeah, it's a little cocky.
It just seems like sour grapes for a lot of it, where it's like you say, I mean, I know they've thrown other lawsuits at other folks, you know, I mean, Rules of Survival and Knives Out, PUBG's still suing those little mobile games, but it just seems that it's funny that they do this lawsuit, as you say, when there's other games out there that they could be suing, but they choose to sue the one that is basically performing really well. I think they're making over $1 million a day now. I think the last
they're
headline I've seen,
dummying PUBG now.
where PUBG's market share or player base is falling as Fortnite's is skyrocketing, and it's like, is that a coincidence? Is this,
but, oh, well, I don't think so, but there's also a lot of other intricacies to that too, right? Because like PUBG did, Bluehole decided to release PUBG on Xbox, but then it decided, I hearken back to Overkill Studios and Payday 2, it decided to keep the console version like multiple updates behind PC, to the point that PC had 3 maps where console was still waiting to get the second map, and they were announcing the 4th map for PC. Like, it was, and not even that, but the console version still, and I talk to people about this all the time, plays like a ported PC game. It doesn't feel like a console shooter, and I played both on PC and console, and I prefer Xbox just because I like the controller, and PUBG still doesn't have controller support properly implemented on PC. But this is the point. Of course your player base is going to shrink if you just, you have your golden egg and you just assume that now it's going to just sit there and be awesome forever. You've got to keep working and supporting the community and providing updates. And what Epic Games did with Fortnite is exactly that. They launched Fortnite with a path forward, as we like to call it in the government. They knew exactly where they were going to go. They had their seasons planned, which was a huge, the battle pass and the seasons, that alone secured their victory. But everything else, the constant updates, Epic Games is no newcomer into this, right? So like they knew exactly what they were doing when they brought Fortnite Battle Royale into the sphere, and they came to win, and they did, because PUBG was caught off guard because Brendan Green didn't think that he was ever going to be dethroned, and he reacted as we have been seeing for the past however many months now. So I don't know. I think this is done. I think this. I don't see this going anywhere else, and I don't think they paid.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. I think, it's more a case of them going, "Oh shit, this isn't going to go anywhere."
I think they withdrew before they lost. I think that was it, because they so far haven't actually lost, and there's a lot of people out there that still believe, deep in their hearts for whatever reason, that Fortnite has stolen from PUBG. So, but we won't get into that because that could be.
It's just people. Isn't it? It's just anyway, but now Realm Royale's stealing everyone, isn't it? They're screwing over both PUBG and Fortnite.
I've heard Realm Royale is the best game ever. I don't know. There's a couple people I've been talking to that only played PUBG who are now obsessed with Realm Royale, and I've talked to other people that said it's a mess of garbage and it's janky. So I don't know.
Gaming.
I'm playing H1Z1 on PS4 lately. That is the only Battle Royale game I'm playing, and honestly, they actually ported the game properly to a console. It feels like a console shooter. It's tight. It's fast. I don't know. I've really been enjoying PS4 H1Z1 lately.
It's just, gaming's a fickle mistress. I mean, the thing is, top titles come and go. It's like the same every year when the new Call of Duty comes out, and so many folk that are into that, they'll jump on that. It's hard for games to really cement themselves, things like your World of Warcraft, your Counter-Strikes, that's not the norm, and I think for a game like PUBG to think, oh no, we're, the Battle Royale game and we're going to be the king of the hill forever. It's unrealistic. That doesn't happen in the video gaming world.
No,
you have to really set yourself apart. I mean, it's like with RPGs. I mean, yes, if you're into, like your Morrowinds and your Skyrims that a lot of us are, but a lot of people don't like that type of RPG. If you ask them what their favorite RPG, it's going to be more like the, Chrono Trigger Secret of Mana style.
Exactly.
It's just...
To each, I always say to each their own. And that's why this was the first article I ever wrote on this before I got like really into the nitty gritty, was just trying to say that Fortnite wasn't copying PUBG. I forget exactly, I had a catchy name for it. But that it was taking, and the Epic Games admitted, taking inspiration from PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, building upon the formula to provide something new and different. And I don't know, isn't that what it's about? Like, why would, like, game developers should be learning from other game developers, and we should all be growing and improving the medium together, because gaming is to each their own. We're all gonna like different things, but like if we all are positive about game development and growth together, we can maybe get to places we wouldn't have got to otherwise. I don't know.
True. That's true.
I'm just optimistic for, like, I keep getting burned on it, but the glass is always 3/4.
Well, here's a quick one. This really doesn't require that much discussion. It's more of a public service announcement. I'd sourced this from gearnuke.com, and of course this is about the upcoming Battlefield 5, or Battlefield V, whatever you prefer. I say 5. It's Roman.
Please say 5.
It's Roman numeral 5 for me. But hey, come on. Again, we've got to think about some of the generations out there that they don't know what Roman numerals are.
Yeah,
what's the average age of the person these days that can actually read a watch that isn't digital? You'd be surprised at how high that number is. You just don't even look it up. Don't look it up. But yes, Battlefield 5 closed alpha invites are now going out. Now the closed alpha is only on PC at this point in time. No doubt they'll do a beta, obviously, on console. They always do. But the closed alpha itself is only available on PC, and of course it required registration. It required registration before you would even be considered for an invite. If you did register for the closed alpha, look, check that email, because you probably would have got that invite already, and if you haven't, I think it's fairly safe to say that, well, you probably didn't get in. Sorry. It sucks. But with that, we've also got the specs, the minimum specs that you'll need to run the closed alpha on PC. You're looking at around, an Intel Core i5 6600K or an AMD FX 8-core, one of the older ones, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and they're saying a minimum of a GTX 1050, whereas the recommended specs, you're looking more at a 4th Gen i7 or, a new AMD Ryzen 3 and a 1060 as the recommended specs. Battlefield 5, is that a game that you'll be... why am I even asking? You buy every game, don't you? Come on. You're gonna buy Battlefield 5. Don't lie to me. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm probably gonna get a day one too. I'm probably gonna get a day one. Not have time to.
Are you gonna get the 150 Canadian dollar version or something? Because what was Battlefield?
No, see, I will say I'm getting a lot better at buying ridiculous amounts of collector's editions lately. I'm trying to fill in gaps instead, and just get stuff that's unique versus just every other statue. No, I'm gonna be getting Battlefield 5 mostly because I'm a history nerd, and yep. I have to say that the recent Battlefield 1 did a really good job. At least they did a really good job up until what was that campaign that they launched, just World War I stories or something like that, where do you remember that on Twitter where they had a whole bunch of things making insane light of tragedies of World War I?
Yeah.
And yeah, it wasn't good. So, but anyway, other than that, Battlefield 1 did a great job at representing World War I. So I'm excited after playing Call of Duty World War II to see what Battlefield 5 brings to the table. Battlefield's always been, top tier, right up there with ARMA, I'd say, with full scale military battles. So I'm pretty excited for sure. Really wish I could have an Xbox closed alpha, but that's fine. I get it, EA. I know. Yeah, I'll be getting it.
Yeah, cool. No, I mean, that's the thing. It's you know, it's a good franchise. I mean, admittedly, it's one that I haven't really visited in a long time, and I think that's because I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, where nowadays I'm so fickle about what games I get, and I just, you know, I end up getting to this weird place where, for example, I refuse, not because I don't want to get it, I still have not bought Assassin's Creed Origins.
I hate you.
Because, wait, but listen to my justification here.
Okay.
I haven't finished Syndicate yet.
Oh, see.
I have played every Assassin's Creed game. I'm like you, I love them to death. But
yeah,
I play them
that,
in order. So I won't touch that. I won't buy it until I finish Syndicate. Because I didn't buy Syndicate, or let me
until you beat Unity.
I didn't play and install Syndicate. I'd actually bought it a Boxing Day sale. I bought Syndicate, and I shit you not, it stayed in a cupboard for a year because I was too busy playing other games, and I was like, shit, I need to finish Unity off before I can, you know, do it. So it's going to be the same with Origins.
I have this overarching, like, if I don't get a game when it comes out, because there's always so much coming out, and I'm a little bit OCD about how I buy and play games. I have this thing that I'll never get it. Like, a perfect example is like when they came out with I didn't buy Rise of the Tomb Raider on release because I was so busy playing so many other things.
Yeah.
And I picked up Rise of the Tomb Raider during the, I think, Boxing Day sale or something like that. And I maybe played 3 hours of it because there was so much that came out around holidays 2017. And it was just like, at least, typically speaking, you can get a week or two of a window when a game comes out before something else comes out that's just like, "Whoa." And with how everything is lately, like, I know there were people that said they were disappointed at this year's E3. This year's E3 blew my frigging mind. Like, the next 2 years are going to be astronomical in the games that we're going to be seeing across all platforms. So in my mind, that's one of the reasons I know I spend more money buying a game immediately versus maybe I could get it 50% off in a sale, but I know I'm at least going to be able to give it some of the time it deserves, and that's my main operating principle. I need to play everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, it is nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's certain games that you cannot beat actually being there since day one and seeing the development of it. Like, I mean, using games like Destiny and The Division as good examples of that, where the day one version and watching how the mechanics change and how they adjusted the game throughout that time frame is fantastic, right? It's a really cool experience. Whereas something like, for example, Rainbow Six Siege, that I didn't buy until, I think it'd been out for 14 months, I think, until I'd finally bought it. And when I bought it, by the time I bought it, the game was fabulous. It was great.
It was already solidified in perfect.
And I missed that kind of, you know, experience of the teething problems. And to be honest, I like that quite often in a game. I like, you know, it's like being an OG vanilla World of Warcraft player that I was, you know, being able to say, oh, you know, back in my day, you don't remember the time when
Deckard Cain.
You know what I mean, though? So I can get that. I can understand wanting to have certain games day one. But I do that with a few. I do that.
Your point is well received too, though, because like I could bring The Division back as a perfect example. Someone like me that bought The Division day one, by the time they'd fixed all of the problems, and don't get me wrong, I still thought The Division was great on day one, but it eventually developed some pretty severe balancing issues, which can happen with those kind of games. They don't always have issues. You can't always predict the type of balancing issues that are going to arise, right? And I think players need to give developers a little more credit for that. But anyway, so I got burned out by the tedium and the grind and the people abusing the couple of systems before they've been fixed, so that by the time The Division has become the Division is now today exactly what it needs to be. It's great. But I look at it and I'm so daunted because all I can think is like, how many people have been playing this all along and I haven't, and like I'm so far behind, or all
true.
these other.
Yeah.
So it's a 6 or half a dozen, right? Like you can really make an argument in both ways.
Yeah, no, it is.
Each their own.
Exactly, it's a tricky situation. I've just got that, like I said, that weird habit of I need to finish. It's like the same with my beloved Forza games. Like I couldn't play Horizon 3 till I'd 100% at Horizon 2. I just recently took advantage. Forza 7 was on sale, like ridiculous. Like Forzas don't go on sale. The Horizons
often,
maybe,
no.
but not often, right? So I saw it, I had to buy it, but obviously I can't play it till I've finished, like, fully completed Forza 6. So it's installed and sitting there, but I can't touch it. I'm not allowed to. My brain.
Speaking of buying far too many games on sale.
Oh, hey, Steam Summer Sale, right? I mean, right, I think we need to talk about our experiences, but for those of you out there, look, I'd found this article over at techradar.com, and they've listed, in their opinion, what they think some of the best games and deals right now of the summer sale of 2018 are. And to be fair, they've got some really good ones up there. I mean, Super Meat Boy is about 90% off. Limbo, same's about 75% off. The Tomb Raider franchise. I mean,
Super Meat Boy and Limbo have both been 90% off. I can't even tell you how many times. Also free on pretty much every console that they exist on.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say
but
that.
Come on, though. Come on.
Boy or Limbo at this point, you're probably not gonna buy it.
True. Hey, but 50% off Assassin's Creed Origins. That's pretty cool.
Now that's what I'm talking about right here. If you don't have Assassin's Creed Origins, cute.
See, that's true. I have actually, funnily enough, and maybe it's just because of the timing, because I really haven't had the cash to take full advantage of the Steam Summer Sale. That being said, I did grab, not because I needed it, and I know these are items that have been on sale a lot in the past, but they had the Steam links for £2 Great British pounds. £2. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to get one. And so
Wait, which this? Steam links?
The Steam Link. You know, the little box. And when I say little...
those things! Are they still on sale? That's the one thing I need to buy.
I'll tell you what, right? It just came in the mail today. And so it's a nice big box. I took it out, and the actual thing itself is tiny. Like... It's probably got about the same footprint as one of the external Elgato cards, maybe. But it's got a nice non-slip surface underneath. It's got, even so it has built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, it does have like a plug-in connector, you know, for your internet. 3 USB attachments, so you could have mouse, keyboard, and controller. And then, of course, your HDMI cable. But anyway, right? You just plug it into the TV, because, you know, that's the whole point of the Steam Link, right? So you could have that in your living room and have a controller connected to that. And your PC does all the work, obviously, but it's streaming it to that little box. So you could be playing your games from your PC, but in your living room on your television. And sure enough, I fired it up. And of all the games, I was like, screw it, I'll try Euro Truck Simulator 2, see how it looks, you know, on the 50-inch screen. And it was great. It was actually really, really cool. Now, again, honestly, it's not something I'm going to use. But when I saw it at that price, and I know they've been discounted heavily for ages, because they're just trying to get rid of them.
Yeah, then nobody...
It's actually really badass. And, like, for only £2, I mean, dude, I can't even go buy...
£2 is an insanely cheap amount.
Like, I'm trying to think, if you go to a bar... No, you
can't get a pint for £2.
No, you can't. It just no. So I was like, screw it. I'll get that.
So
that's the only thing I bought from the sale. But just before the sale, I'd finally got 2 games that I've been wanting for a while because they were heavily discounted. One was my Warhammer 40,000 Space Hulk Deathwing, so I've got that.
Oh, you got Space Hulk!
Yes, I haven't touched it much because I've got other things I've got to play. But the big one...
Good for you, though, getting Space Hulk. You wanted that for so long.
Yes, big time. But the other one that I finally got, that I've wanted for ages as well, was finally got Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
No way!
And
oh my god, okay.
I have to.
You're allowed to play it with headphones, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah. Oh, I've already finished it, but unfortunately,
Oh.
I missed 2 runes, so I have to go back through. I have to get the perfect ending from getting.
As someone that's like worked in the field as well, I feel like you're going to appreciate it because they deal with
fabulous.
it. They like. I say it intentionally because you're not really sure. Paranoia, multiple personality disorder, like there's insanity, like there's so much that's going on, in such a respectful way, and with compassion in a like I don't know. It said that game was unlike anything I'd ever played before.
It was one of the most amazing gaming experiences ever, and it's no wonder that it won 5 BAFTAs. You know,
oh my god, right?
It makes sense. It was just fantastic.
And what's her name? The actress. She'd never I don't think she'd ever done anything before.
No,
she came out of
she was their main video editor, and they grabbed her to do some motion cap because she herself had some kind of bad history, not necessarily mental health related, right? But she had because there's a little documentary about it where the director of Ninja Theory is saying that they needed to do some tests, like for voice recording and stuff, and they needed like Senna to act that she had been through a lot of personal anguish, and so he got her to do it, like just briefly, and then when she had done it, then they just knew. They're like, okay, no, yeah, you're Senua.
You're Senua now.
But yeah, no,
that game, that's another one. Still on sale if people haven't played that one yet. It's
a must buy.
That game, I was like I'm glad I played through that entire game on stream, and it was a something else to behold. Like, wow,
yeah,
what a game.
What about you? What have you grabbed during the summer sale?
Nothing.
You've been a good boy.
I actually I kind of put my foot down this year that I was gonna probably stay away from it just because like I'm already kind of, to use a term from one of my articles, grappling with game overflow. I've got a lot on my plate. I haven't finished God of War. I bought the God of War PS4 Pro. This is where I'm at right now. I'm so busy. It's because I'm working, the regular job, the site, the streaming, the DJing every weekend pretty much now. It's just so I'm trying to be better and not actually pick anything up. But I will say quickly that I misunderstood when you said the Steam Link. I thought you said the little bot, not box, because there are these stream bots. They're on sale right now too. And I can't remember what
stream avatars or something like that.
Something like that. And I was debating picking them up. Streamers that have them, and they're pretty fun. And I was trying to think of some new stuff to do for my subs. I have a Steam Link because I did buy it when it was on a ridiculous Black Friday sale. It was like $10 or $5 or something silly. I've only really played non-intensive games on it, but I'm curious to know, were you wired in when you played?
Yes, because allegedly it's horrible over Wi-Fi.
Now, okay, so you were wired right into your PC?
Yeah, I was wired, into my home network, and my home network, I use Cat6 cable, and everything's gigabit Ethernet, so bandwidth isn't an issue. So yes, my experience was pretty damn good with it. But I have read that Wi-Fi's, even with a good, a 5 gigahertz router or whatever, I've heard it's pretty shocking.
Well, I was actually going to say that for the most part, so I wanted it so that I could play away from things. And the way, we live in a 2-story townhouse, so we don't have wires running up to the second floor. We just, whatever we do on the second floor, we Wi-Fi. So my hope was that I was going to be able to use the Steam Link upstairs and plug it in. And I have one of those things where you can plug into an outlet and you can feed a Ethernet cable from it, but realistically it's not a true LAN. I found that as long as I wasn't playing an intensive game, I played I played Zwei the Argus Adventure. I played Cattails with Ashley, and I actually think I played a round of something a little more high octane. I can't recall what it was. For the most part, and we're talking one side of the house on the bottom floor to the other side of the house on the top floor, over and far away from the router where the Steam Link was as well. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Then again, I was playing less intensive games. But anyway, you should definitely, and anyone else considering it, definitely test, like, if it's that cheap still, it's worth it. And I think it's, there's a lot of awesome indie games that you can play, Steam, and you might be able to actually play those on Wi-Fi across the house.
Yeah. No, it's like you said, I just thought, at that price, why the hell not?
Why not? Why wouldn't you? That's that's the same reason I picked up a PS TV. They were selling PS TVs for like $10 or $15 once.
Oh man!
And you can plug in, you can take PS memory cards from like your Vita or actually just Vita cards and plug them into the PS TV and just play Vita games on your TV. I bought it purely to play Danganronpa and other visual novels on my big screen. Like, why not?
Absolutely. Hey, how's this for a why not? Why shouldn't just, every platform out there, social media-wise, just get into gaming? Well, that's a good question, because this latest article from Tech Radar is suggesting that Snapchat is going to be getting into the gaming sector.
What?
Right, so we all know how... It's quite funny, right? Because a lot of people, when it comes to gaming and live streaming, they know about Twitch and they know about YouTube, and some folk know about Mixer, but that's kind of the three. The holy trinity is these big three. And the funny thing is, like with online streaming, there's hundreds of platforms out there. I mean, okay, there's little ones like your Hitbox and whatnot, and yes, people know about Periscope and Facebook Live now and all this, but there's all sorts of crazy platforms out there already where people do stream to. It's most of them are quite niche, hence why for gaming Twitch had really kind of got their foothold there. But as more of these platforms are kind of starting to straddle other areas, especially like with Facebook Live, Facebook, as far as live streaming for games goes, that's been one of the fastest growing platform, I think, in the last year or two.
I've been seeing so many of my random friends from University streaming Fortnite on Facebook Live.
Yeah, it's
just like, I don't even know. I don't even know what the chemicals in my brain are making. Feeling things I've never felt before, and it's weird.
It's so funny. I mean,
it is funny.
The problem with these other platforms for a while has been monetization, and like Facebook now is actually offering quite big money, but not like in a conventional way. Like with Twitch, yourself, you have these paths where you get affiliate, and you some people aim for partner, and you can get deals, and you get subs, you get a percentage revenue. Facebook isn't doing that. They're doing shit like oh hey, you Mr. Famous guy, or you famous actor, we'll give you this money to stream on Facebook. They're doing it that way at the moment. But anyway, like Instagram and Snapchat now, they have really became more and more popular, where, I mean, you look a few years back, I mean, the only way you got an Instagram account was if you were a 14-year-old girl. That was like the realm of Instagram. But fast forward, and that has completely changed. I mean, everyone's delving into the gram, and Snapchat
more
as
people
well.
have Instagram than Twitter now. It's way overtaken.
Yeah, it's totally
and people
changed.
don't even use Instagram for it. Like, the whole purpose of Instagram was to post pictures, and now people literally write notes on Instagram because there's no character limit, or at least if there is, it's obscene.
But yeah, so Snapchat is, according to sources from within the company, developing a full-on gaming platform, which it plans to unveil later this year. Now, I'm assuming this is really going to be more, we're talking about mobile games, right? I would imagine.
You would have to assume. Maybe something similar to what the Streamlabs mobile app does. You can capture your phone and do things, stream, I don't know, The Sims or Simpsons Tapped Out or Pokemon Go. Fuck, I don't know. If I could stream Pokemon Go to Snapchat, I might be the first 30-year-old to download a Snapchat account. That can't be true.
I think it's got to be more games around like that, because from what I'm seeing here is Snap has introduced developer kits and has started distributing them to developers about 2 weeks ago. And also they've got Snappables, the Snapchat Spectacles based games that are already available in the app. So it seems like it's more about Snapchat's trying to develop, I think, their own games, similar to how, like, you know, when Facebook first came out and there was stuff like Farmville, you know, which, like, you go back when Facebook first came out, let's be honest, everyone was hooked on freaking Farmville. Or there was another one that was like a mafia type one.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
What I
mean? I can't remember the name.
But like back in...
I'm just seeing Snap Spectacles for the first time now, and I actually think I may be done with society.
See, that's where you went wrong. You had actual faith in humanity. You were setting yourself up for failure.
That must have been my biggest mistake. But at least they're water resistant, and I can now snap underwater.
It's one of these things, you know, that whether you agree with their business principles or not, Snapchat, they see a market, they see a potential for money,
and they crush it,
and they're gonna do it. I mean, let's be honest. Snapchat does. I think, and I know you could argue the point, but I feel that Snapchat does have a relatively, you know, the majority of their demographic is young. Don't be wrong, I know a lot of adults do use it, but
I think you're right.
I think it's one of those platforms, you know, that really does appeal to the younger market. So I think there's going to be a case of, like you say, those types of mobile games that will appeal to the younger generations, and of course will have microtransactions, because that's how you get younger people to spend money. You know, if they have these little tiny, this is only, you know, 50 cents. Oh, that's not bad. I can go ask my parents for that. Come on, hey, you know, is it okay if I? So we'll see. And you know, if they go into the gaming market, then it adds another revenue stream for Snapchat. So I think it kind of makes sense.
Speaking of just going back to our original conversation, they lost a bunch of points in the stock market because like they only became a publicly traded company last year, right?
That's true,
which saw like an insanely like they had a huge uptick when they first launched, but after a couple really weird moments, I think it was at the end of last year, but it might have been early 2018, with like I want to say it was either Kim Kardashian or someone else like that making a couple comments. They lost a whole ton of points in the stock market.
Yeah.
And so this, I don't know, this could be an example of, going back to our first conversation, of a company that's in trouble and looking for some new revenue streams.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Something that would be nice and stable, that doesn't, you know, I mean, can you imagine having your company and your share price is basically at the whim of what a celebrity says.
That I can't. Shit. Yeah. When I first heard that, oh my god, it was Kylie Jenner, maybe.
Yeah, that's
not a person.
Yeah,
and that's who it was.
Well, I don't know. I think the jury's out on whether she's a person or not.
Am I just putting two names together?
No, you're right. No,
the person and Jenners are people like.
No, you're right. I'm sure Kylie Jenner's was the. I don't think she's the youngest anymore, but
I have it in the back of my head. Yeah, that's the person who like caused Snapchat to.
Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, as far as whether she's a person or not, I think the jury's out, because you know you need to have a personality to be considered a person. But hey, you know, that's just.
I'm gonna go now order myself a pair of Snap spectacles. Apparently, you can upload the video and pictures to Twitter and other things. So I don't know. Maybe you're gonna see me walking around wearing.
You know, hey, I'm still waiting on the Google glasses when they unveiled those a couple of years ago.
Dude, I'm pissed. Like I don't believe they're ever coming. I want those so bad.
Just you know, I want stuff like that. You know, I want.
Me too, dude.
I want the screens like Minority Report. You know, I mean, we need that stuff. We need that stuff.
I would be watching stream. I will die. I would be watching streams in one of my eyes all the fucking like it would be. I I wouldn't need to jaywalk 150 times to end up in jail. I'd jaywalk once and die.
Oh, God. No, wearables, it could be quite cool.
Yeah, they really can be.
Right, we're on to our final bit of news this evening, and shout out to my buddy Gim. He had actually found this for me and slapped it and was like, oh, hey, look, check this out. And it actually kind of pissed me off because I'm usually quite good at trying to find bits of news, and I can't believe that something as big as this somehow just flew under my radar. But anyway, this is from The Verge, and this is basically saying that EA is putting the Star Wars game on hold because the former Uncharted creator Amy Hennig is leaving the company. So, tiny bit of backstory here, right? Last October, EA had shut down Visceral Studios, the people behind Dead Space.
That was like the saddest thing that happened in October.
That was just nasty. I'm sure I've got those games on PC. I don't think I've played them all yet, but yeah. Get around to them at one point. But yeah, so, even so they did the unthinkable and shut them down, they did keep one project alive. And this was going to be a new stories-driven Star Wars adventure. And the big thing about the big deal with this game was that it was being helmed by the creator of Uncharted, Amy Hennig. So, Star Wars game fans around the world rejoiced because if you've ever played any of the Uncharted games, and even if you haven't played them, but you know of them, then you know that there's mad respect there. Those are the storytelling in those games is crafted really quite well. So
not even just the story chart, like the games are really they
super high polished. Just
that's it. They don't put out crap.
Yeah, they're masterpieces, right? So the thought of finally, having someone like that in charge of, whether this was going to be an RPG, whether this was going to be a first base, like a shooter but with RPG elements. Either way, it's going to be story driven. The concept of finally to get a decent story-driven game that we haven't seen since the old RPG version of Knights of the Old Republic. It was just, the concept was great, right? So there she was in charge, at EA Vancouver. But now, as it turns out, in an interview that she had with Eurogamer, she left EA in January and is currently in the process of forming
Thanks for letting us know, Amy.
Yeah, come on. It's almost July.
Amy, update your Instagram. We just talked about this.
Do they not have a Facebook status in this day and age for left EA? I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, Amy having an EA, it's complicated.
It's no longer in a relationship with... But yeah, so she's looking to build up a smaller team to focus on VR projects. Okay, so I mean that's cool. Hey, I'm all about doing what you want to do. But yeah, she's not doing anything Star Wars, and so EA isn't commenting at all on the status of the game. They did, however, release a statement confirming her departure. And to keep it brief, it just said, yes, Amy Hennig has moved on from Electronic Arts. Amy is an amazing storyteller, a crafter, and a creator. We have so much respect for her and the creative spirit she brought to the teams and projects she worked on at EA. We wish Amy all the best with what comes next, and we will all be watching with excitement.
Well, that sounds like a pretty proto EA shelf response if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, I mean, that was like one of those things that just had...
Did you just put
blank.
Amy's name in there and then copy it over
from the last person? They had a template that said, yes, blank has moved on.
Insert Firee's name here.
It was a web form that it just asks the first and last name and it just auto-completes the rest. But yeah, it's kind of a shame because... If this is something that anyone out there has been excited for or looking forward to, you have to feel gutted because if you knew that she was at the helm of this,
that's insane,
right? You would have been just hyped up, super stoked, right? To steal your word, right? You should just
stoked.
You'd be stoked out of my mind, man. You would, and it'd be, oh wow, this game is finally we're gonna get something good, and to see that she's no longer involved in that project, that does really, really suck. I mean, especially considering, I know you're the king of positivity, but with the struggles that the Battlefront games, Battlefront 2 had, not taken away from whether it was a good game or not, but, just, with the drama they've had. And...
It had a lot of drama. I'm a firm maintainer that Battlefront 2 it's a great game. It improved every single problem that Battlefront 1 had, and then they put loot boxes in it. That was, honestly, Battlefront 2 is a great game, and EA, in my opinion, has made up for their original kerfuffle. Originally they kerfuffled, but they did the smart thing, said, whoops, we kerfuffled, and they backpedaled. And they keep releasing free DLC with new maps and characters, and people are still like, oh, Battlefront 2 EA, it's such a money grab. And I'm like, guys, they're they aren't releasing a season pass because they realize they fucked up. Let it go at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my opinion on it. I've been happily playing through new Battlefront 2 modes. It continues to improve. It's a game that honestly same conversation we had about Rainbow Six, Division, Destiny. Mm-hmm. It released with some problems. They rectified their problems way quicker than anybody else did. And again, we're just we're just gonna give you guys free DLC forever now. And if people still just keep slamming them. I don't like EA. They've got some shady business practices for sure, but I think they did a really good job turning around their initial kerfuffle. And Battlefront 2, apart from the loot boxing, is a good game.
Yeah. No, sorry. I think for me, the best part of this article is actually the last sentence, because it's something that I wasn't aware of. This is, again, something that somehow snuck under my radar. And
I'm reading it right now,
too. The Titanfall studio Respawn has teased a single-player game called Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, my God.
It was at E3. How did I miss that? Okay, I didn't watch most of the conferences, if I'm honest, because I was too busy over that weekend doing crap. But... holy crap. Because we both like the Titanfall games.
I don't know how I missed that either, because I even watched through, I missed E3 when it was live except for Sony, but I watched through the majority of trailers and things afterwards, and I don't recall Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. But all I can think right now is, does this follow, what's his name, Kyle Katarn, Jedi Outcast? Is this that series? Oh my, right? Right? Because that was the best Star Wars series. Apart from Knights of the Old Republic, Jedi Outcast was the best series that existed. Yep. That multiplayer Jedi battling was insane.
It was awesome. That was one of the first games that I got really, really serious with. And
I got hooked on Jedi Outcast too.
It was so fun. And then, downloading... because you can, get the user-created maps and then the mods. I remember having...
I forgot about that.
I had, because I was playing on PC, I had the Darth Maul mod, so I actually had, the proper dual saber thing.
Okay, that's cool.
Had a Coruscant map that was just fantastic.
Okay, that's cool, too.
Yeah, Jedi Outcast.
I didn't get those things on original Xbox, man.
Oh, it was... I still have the CD, actually, for that. So, yes, the CD... kicking about. I've still got all sorts of crazy old games, but no, that's the best part of that article for me. That last sentence.
That definitely. I think that's the best part too. I do think it's a little weird, as your point earlier, Amy Hennig focusing on VR projects. Again, do what you're passionate about, and nothing for sure. But it's Picasso decides to take up singing. I don't know. Or not, no, okay, that's not really fair.
I know what you mean, but unless...
also decides to take up pointillism.
Unless she really just blows the shit out of the water. Can you imagine, having a game like Uncharted...
In VR, you're right. No, you're
that's super polished and actually works?
And not only that, but, if, what Amy Hennig was her storycraft, right?
Yeah.
So if that's what she's going to bring, because admittedly... VR is so often focused on immediate gameplay and sensory satisfaction. It would be pretty cool to actually play a more involved narrative-driven adventure in VR. But I swear to God, if it only releases for Oculus and Vive and not PSVR, I will burn everything to the ground.
VR is such a weird situation. You look at just last week, I talked about how Microsoft's finally came out and admitted that, yeah, we're not
They're not doing it.
Yeah, which is funny because when they first announced Scorpio,
they said they were going to.
Yes.
But
and it's
the power's there. Like I get the focus, and honestly, they probably feel so burned after the Kinect. Like they're probably so gun shy after. It's like, okay, guys, we've released 2 versions of this motion tracking, really, really intensive, infrared, high def, super awesome camera, and nobody gives a fuck.
VR is a weird
one. We've just got a million people playing Fruit Ninja.
Because, I mean, you look at PSVR, and that's probably one of the better selling headsets on the market. But even then, the numbers aren't amazing.
They're not great. I have trouble finding people to play games with still. Like, I picked it up because, it's me, right? So, but, I have trouble. And you know what, though? On the PC side, it's the same. The Oculus, the Vive, I know a couple people that have them, but there aren't a vast number of people. But those also aren't exceptionally affordable. They're still...
that's the biggest problem. With
$799, at least the PSVR costs American, I think it's only $299, $399 Canada.
Yeah, it's much more affordable. I mean, this is the thing.
That's
on the
way
PC,
more affordable.
It's crazy price. So adoption rates have been low, and then even then, if you got to spend that money on the headset. But if you're talking about the PC for VR, then you need to have the hardware to push it as well. Like, you can't just have a crappy PC and be like, oh, okay, I'll buy a nice VR headset. It just doesn't work. And I know that we've been waiting for ages on these affordable headsets to come out, but it kind of, for me, feels like when 3D had came back out.
Yeah.
And, I'm one of those people, I still have, I mean, my stepdaughter uses it now, but I have a 3D TV. I loved it. We would only buy 3D Blu-rays, and
that faded fast. Right? Remember,
dude, super quick, right? I mean,
yeah, that went yeah, that's actually crazy how my parents bought a 3D, having to look extra places to order the glasses for them. But and the glasses were $200 a piece and crap, and it was insane. No, it's hard to say, right? It's hard to say exactly where it's gonna go from here. I firmly believe VR is here to stay for sure. And I firmly believe that any Amy Hennig-led VR project is going to be something that I'm going to want to play. But it doesn't change the fact that, and I've never played an Oculus or a Vive, but on the PSVR, as awesome as it is, there's still hurdles, there's still slight issues. But at least it's a really, affordable entry into the market, because even me, I have a i7 with 16 gigs of RAM and a 3.4 quad core processor, and I couldn't run the Oculus or the Vive. Not a chance. Mm-hmm. My computer would laugh at me. Oh, well, I also only have a GTX 960. But I mean, my computer would laugh at me if I plugged it in. I could maybe play that VR chat game where everybody's really racist, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I was
the
takeaway from that. Oh, crazy. Crazy. Well, look, that is us out of news this week on Jungle Drums. But look, as always, there's always plenty of content out there for you to look at. If you check out the website, www.scholarlygamers.com, we have some great stuff out this week. Of course, the latest episode of Proof of Console just dropped. If you haven't watched that yet, you need to see it. As always, it's a great show, very informative, and answers those difficult questions that we've always wanted to know the true answer to.
Can you build a Halo?
It's
but really,
it's we've all wondered. I mean, and if you haven't,
we're not going to spoil it for you, but I can promise you that how we get there is going to be an amazing.
It's true. It's
always so fantastically done.
Always is, and we've got as usual, a couple of reviews here and there. We had a really great piece this week about Nier and Nietzsche. Really, really good read. Check that out, and that is pretty much it from us over here. We'll see you again next week, of course, and big thanks to Scholarly Gamer for being on this week's episode. It was a hell of a lot of fun with you there, bud.
This was a blast, and I can't believe I don't do it every single.
See, do you now feel nice and chilled after your?
I honestly, I've had such a great time just having this conversation and going through the thing. Well, yeah,
the thing is,
if you ever need another person, I'm here.
The thing is, whilst you've been busy doing this, you haven't had to respond to DMs.
I haven't looked at Discord or Twitter in an hour and a half. This is magical. This is absolutely.
Put your hands
magical.
in front of you. Are they shaking? Or do you?
No, no, and it's weird.
Anyway, folks, look, we'll catch you next week again for. God knows what we'll be talking about. We'll just have to see what develops over the next week. But anyway, look, hey, it's bye from me, and we'll catch you later.
Have a great one.